To survive, the human body must solve a continuous logistics problem, moving massive quantities of oxygen into the bloodstream while simultaneously extracting and venting toxic carbon dioxide waste. Solving this requires a physical interface. The system has to transport raw, unconditioned air from the outside world and bring it into direct contact with the microscopic vessels of the circulatory system. The external environment is highly variable. Air fluctuates wildly in temperature and humidity and carries microscopic physical debris and pathogens. The internal human environment, by contrast, is delicate and strictly regulated. To safely bridge these two environments, the body relies on a bifurcated functional architecture. This diagram outlines the two distinct zones of that architecture. The upper respiratory tract extends from the skull to the throat, acting as a biological conditioning center. Below it, the lower respiratory tract within the chest cavity handles fluid conduction and massive-scale gas exchange. The human respiratory system functions as an actively integrated, multi-stage processing plant for environmental gases, an architectural complexity that simple, passive balloons cannot replicate. Before this processing plant can filter or exchange anything, it needs to physically move gas through its network of tubes. In any fluid dynamic system, that requires an actuator to generate pressure differentials. The primary mechanical actuator for human respiration is the diaphragm. This is a large, dome-shaped muscle anchored at the base of the chest cavity, resting immediately beneath the lungs. Looking at this cross-section of the chest cavity reveals the physical mechanics of inhalation. The dome-shaped diaphragm actively contracts, pulling itself downward into a flattened position. This downward motion physically increases the total volume of the thoracic cavity. Expanding the internal space creates negative pressure, a vacuum that forcefully pulls external air into the airways. Exhalation reverses the mechanics. The diaphragm relaxes and snaps back to its original upward dome shape. This sudden decrease in cavity volume generates positive pressure, physically pushing the internal air back out. The lungs themselves do none of the heavy lifting. The muscle contraction of the diaphragm is highly active, while the large, spongy tissue of the lungs is entirely passive and structurally reactive. Without the continuous volumetric modulation provided by the diaphragm, the entire elaborate tubing network of the respiratory system would remain static and completely non-functional. Following the negative pressure created by that vacuum, external air is first drawn into the very top of the system, entering through the primary intake zones in the skull and throat. This is the upper respiratory tract. Its biological imperative is environmental conditioning, intercepting raw atmospheric air to filter, warm, and moisten it. The primary intake pathway consists of the nose and the nasal cavity behind it. Inside this cavity, incoming air meets an initial mechanical filtration system. The walls are coated in sticky mucus to catch large particles, while millions of tiny, hair-like structures called cilia sweep in a rhythmic pattern, physically dragging trapped dust and pathogens away from the main airway. If oxygen demand spikes, such as during intense physical exertion, the body recruits a secondary intake pathway. The oral cavity, or mouth, acts as a low-resistance bypass, allowing for a sudden, high-volume influx of air. While the main cavities draw air in, hidden structures deep within the facial bones act as dedicated thermal regulators. These are the paranasal sinuses. These hollow, air-filled spaces actively adjust the temperature and humidity of the passing air to match internal body conditions. Because they are hollow, they also serve to significantly reduce the physical weight of the human skull. Once conditioned, the air flows downward and converges in the pharynx, commonly known as the throat. This is a shared dual-purpose funnel that processes both inhaled atmospheric gas and ingested food. As the air descends further into the larynx, or voice box, it encounters a critical anatomical safety mechanism, a small flap of tissue called the epiglottis. The epiglottis operates as an instinctive biological security gate. Every time you swallow, it snaps shut over the larynx, physically blocking liquids or solids from misrouting and causing a catastrophic obstruction in the lower airways. Once air clears the larynx, it enters the lower respiratory tract. At this threshold, the system's function shifts entirely from atmospheric conditioning to deep physical conduction. The air drops into the trachea, or windpipe. This is a wide, heavy-duty conduit engineered to carry the maximum volume of gas directly into the chest. To withstand the intense vacuum pressure generated by the diaphragm, the trachea requires heavy architectural reinforcement. This cross-section shows rigid, C-shaped cartilage rings embedded directly into the tracheal walls. They ensure the main channel remains open and resists collapsing inward during deep inhalation. The trachea also serves as a final line of defense. Its interior is lined with an additional layer of mucus and cilia to intercept any microscopic debris that bypass the nasal cavity. At the base of the trachea, the architecture executes its first major structural division, splitting into two distinct tubes, the right and left primary bronchi. These primary bronchi plunge straight into the core organs of the system, the massive pinkish-gray spongy tissue of the lungs, securely armored by the rib cage. Inside the lungs, the layout is governed by a highly specific geometric concept, fractal branching. As illustrated by this geometric structure, the two primary bronchi do not remain large tubes. Instead, they rapidly multiply into thousands of progressively smaller, thinner channels known as bronchioles, mirroring the dense branching of a tree. This massive fractal network solves a crucial fluid dynamics problem. As the central tube sequentially divides into thousands of smaller pathways, it forces the incoming air to drastically drop in velocity, while simultaneously distributing its volume across a vast internal surface area. Those localized air currents finally reach the end of the line. Situated at the absolute terminus of every single bronchiole are the alveoli. The alveoli physically resemble dense clusters of tiny, balloon-like air sacs. An adult human lung contains hundreds of millions of these individual sacs. Packed together, they generate an immense collective surface area within a relatively tight thoracic cavity. This microscopic view reveals a critical layer of infrastructure, a tight, incredibly dense network of blood vessels called capillaries, wrapping completely around the exterior of every individual sac. This is where the biological transaction occurs. The walls of the alveoli are ultra-thin, allowing the inbound oxygen molecules to pass directly across the membrane interface and into the circulating bloodstream. Simultaneously, a reverse outbound mechanism executes. Toxic carbon dioxide waste carried by the blood transfers outward from the capillaries, moving across that same thin membrane to be deposited into the empty space of the alveoli. This delicate microscopic membrane acts as the strict boundary line for the entire body. It is the sole location where the external atmosphere is permitted to physically merge with the internal human system. Every large-scale anatomical structure, from the filtering hairs of the nasal cavity down through the reinforced walls of the trachea, is built and maintained solely to protect and facilitate this one specific microscopic chemical transaction. With the chemical transaction complete, the mechanical journey must immediately reverse direction, initiating the exhalation phase. The newly deposited carbon dioxide waste cannot remain in the lungs. It is squeezed out of the alveolar sacs and pushed aggressively back up into the dense fractal network of the bronchioles. As it travels upward, this exhaust air rapidly consolidates. The thousands of tiny currents merge back into the primary bronchi and accelerate vertically up the reinforced shaft of the trachea. This forceful upward physical propulsion is directly powered by the diaphragm. The muscle relaxes from its flattened state, doming upward against the base of the lungs to physically push the volume out. Ascending into the upper tract, the pressurized exhaust safely bypasses the open flap of the epiglottis, funnels through the pharynx, and vents back into the external environment through the nasal or oral cavities. The architectural model is now complete and fully operational. The upper tract conditions and protects the intake. The lower tract conducts the fluid and executes the gas exchange. And the diaphragm provides the vital mechanical pumping force required to drive it all. Through strict structural engineering and highly coordinated mechanics, the human respiratory system reliably converts the Earth's raw atmosphere into life-sustaining metabolic fuel,